Public people.
Girls who went to the police academy. They were hot.
98 pounds of police-trained dynamite.
They were sexy, and they always got their man. They were Charlie's Angels.
We could do anything from a karate chop to fly an airplane to cook a gourmet meal. We could do it all.
The fact that we were women with power was different at that time.
Hello.
Now, wait a minute.
Charlie's Angels brought new meaning to the phrase drop-dead gorgeous.
You can look good, you can be intelligent, and yet you can still flip somebody over your shoulders.
And it was really the first show on television where women totally dominated the show.
In the 70s, there was no bigger hit on the small screen, but critics dismissed Charlie's Angels as Jiggle TV.
Well, I'm sure it was a man who came up with that, Jiggle TV.
We never meant to be Shakespeare.
How do you hide a gun in a bikini?
Very carefully.
The Angels set trends for all that was stylish and fashionable.
I thought they were tough and beautiful and sassy, sexy, all those things.
Oh, thank you.
But Charlie's Angels drew fire from the feminists.
Charlie's Angels was a kind of a hand grenade thrown into the feminist battlefield at that time.
Then the most famous angel suddenly quit.
Farrah was her own person. No one was going to tell her what to do.
That was probably the worst thing I've ever been through.
I don't think she's ever recovered from that.
Capable and confident on screen, the girls were more vulnerable in their real-life roles.
We all went through divorces on the show. You can't work that many hours without suffering emotionally.
There was the problem with stalking. Jackie did have a stalker.
Aaron wanted me to have a 24-hour bodyguard.
On screen, they battled the bad guys. Off screen, they struggled with each other.
I'm Tiffany Wells.
Shelley had a rough go.
She was never integrated into the group.
We kept saying daily, why don't they get rid of her?
In time, the cast of Charlie's Angels became a revolving door.
They referred to me as the sexy angel, and I think that's just because they had run out of adjectives.
Beautiful women in fantastic situations. It was fun. It was easy to take. The timing was perfect.
Now, the phenomenal story of the sexiest, most successful series of the 1970s, as Inside TV Land presents Charlie's Angels. The year was 1976. America was celebrating 200 years of independence. On the 4th of July, fireworks lit the sky over Lady Liberty. 2 months later, 3 sexy and dynamic ladies exploded onto the American cultural scene, making their own Declaration of Independence with the premiere of Charlie's Angels.
In the big picture of television history, it's one of the very first hour dramas that featured an ensemble of young women in lead roles in an action show. That's something that just hadn't been done before.
Women in bikinis taking on the men. It was the beginning of girl power on television.
Women can do anything men can do.
It was a clear message. Women are here, they're on the rise, they're tough, they're not to be fooled with. So watch out.
Now sit down and cool off.
When Charlie's Angels premiered on ABC in September of '76, the role of women in television changed dramatically and irrevocably.
These were 3 women who did not fall into the mythology that Hollywood men had created over the last 30 years. They did not fight with each other for men. They were not catty with each other over who was going to get the better job. They were working women, and they worked well together.
Hi. Yes, they would put on bikinis quite a bit. So what? They also knew how to handle themselves. They might have had boyfriends, but they weren't dependent on men.
I really consider it to be at the forefront of women's lib. These were independent thinking women who acted on their own, and they triumphed every week.
I need a doctor!
Women controlled their own destiny in that show.
Exactly.
Hello. Morning, Angels.
Charlie's Angels made its revolutionary debut after a hard-fought campaign waged by television producers Aaron Spelling and Leonard Goldberg. Since 1972, Spelling Goldberg Productions had knocked out one hit show after another. But by 1975, they were looking to break new ground.
I've always felt that women have never really gotten an honest chance in drama and television, especially action drama.
Spelling had already tried putting a woman at the center of an action drama in 1965 with a detective series he produced called Honey West.
Hello, Honey West. In a half hour? That's fine. Well, as Sherlock used to say, the game's afoot.
Honey West was just something that I fell in love with, and with Anne Francis.
But for a woman to be a detective and to be doing karate and knocking over a killer and everything, people just said, oh, this is so unrealistic.
Honey West was ahead of her time, and the series lasted just one season. 10 years later, Spelling and Goldberg decided the time was right to revisit the idea of fashionable lady detectives.
We dreamt up this idea about three beautiful girls named Alley, Catherine, I forget what the third one was called, which we called the Alley Cats.
ABC's head of programming, Fred Silverman, recognized a promising premise.
Three bright women fighting all the bad guys is a great idea. And it's something that hadn't been done very often. You know, with the exception of Policewoman with Angie Dickinson, I can't think of an action show where there were women leads.
Unlike Policewoman, the three Alley Cats did not need a male sidekick to bail them out of trouble. Silverman didn't like the script, but he liked the idea.
Three women in these parts would be enough to compensate for the rottenness of the script.
Silverman gave the green light to shoot a pilot in 1975.
I went into it knowing full well that this was not going to win a Peabody Award.
As soon as we knew we were going to make a pilot film, we wanted to use Kate.
27-year-old Kate Jackson was the female lead on the Spelling Leonard series The Rookies. She met with Spelling to discuss Alley Cats.
Suppose you had three girls who worked together. They didn't know who they worked for because he called them on the speakerphone, and his name was, you know, like Harry. And they were Harry's, not Harry's girls, they were Harry's, and then looked over this way, and there was an oil painting on the wall.
There was a picture, believe it or not, of three angels.
So they'd be detectives, and they'd be Harry's angels.
Kate Jackson became the first angel, but she wouldn't be working for a guy named Harry.
David Jansen had a show on called Harry-O, so we had to change it. Aaron called one day and said, it can't be Harry, it can't be Harry. What do you want it to be, Katie? Charlie. Charlie. It's going to be Charlie.
Morning, Charlie.
Charlie's next angel was a 28-year-old Texan named Farrah Fawcett.
Aaron and I had used her in a small part in a couple of movies for television we did. Murder on Flight 502, and she played the stewardess.
Can I take that for you?
Hey, have we met before?
No, it's just that I have most of your records.
Well, we just said, my gosh, she would be great in this.
I'd heard of Farrah Fawcett because she was very big in commercials. So when Aaron suggested her, I thought it was a great idea.
Then the third person was harder because now we had a brunette and a blonde. We thought, well, maybe we should get a redhead.
It's a good bet. Yeah.
We looked for a very long time, and then we found Jackie Smith, thank God.
Jaclyn Smith wasn't a redhead, but the 28-year-old Texas brunette got the role anyway.
I thought the premise was a winner. I thought it was different. I thought it was unique in that it would be all women. I thought that it would be a fun show.
Charlie's three angels were now in place.
Putting those three women together was really magic.
The first three was really a team, and we went into the show thinking like a team.
Good morning, angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
The pilot episode of Charlie's Angels was shot in the summer of '76.
Sabrina, Jill, something's gone wrong. We better get out of here.
Right.
There was a sense of fun about us all being together, and it was like we were college roommates or something. Three girls, just about the same age, all from the South, all with the same kind of background, and we got along really well and had a great time.
Kate was the veteran, and Jackie and I just thought, oh, there's Kate Jackson, you know, and we had second and third billing, and so we were a little in awe of Kate.
I didn't even know how to hold a gun, you know. Kate, I will say, boy, she handled it. Farrah and I were like, oh, God, look at her.
Kate came around with such authority with this gun. Breathe! And Jackie and I went,
Please.
Are we ready, Bosley? Give me just a moment, sir.
After the pilot was completed, ABC tried out Charlie's Angels in front of test audiences.
And the testing was absolutely awful. Nobody liked it. Nobody. Old people hated it. Young people hated it. Boys, 13 years old, liked it. That was about it. But we had to play it.
ABC aired the pilot on March 21st, 1976.
I saw it in black and white at a motel and said, well, I think my life's just changed.
I thought we'd expect modest ratings, and the show went through the roof.
It ended up getting a 55 share. So the testing be damned.
They thought there was something wrong with the Nielsen system,
Oh, I'm afraid there's been some mistake.
so they ran it 3 weeks later and it got a 44 share.
Audience shares that large were normally generated only by big events like the Super Bowl, so ABC put the show in its fall lineup. Months before the series premiere, the press was already buzzing about Charlie's Angels.
Harry Match, the big magazine in France, sent over a crew and photographer. And I said to him, how do you know this will be of interest to your readers? And he said, what you're selling, we're buying.
When we return, controversy, cleavage, and jiggle TV.
You know, it's hard to chase after those bad guys without jiggling.
And the most adored angel turns in her wings.
You get into a rut, and you get unhappy because there's nothing else that you can do with the character.
When we go back inside Charlie's Angels on Inside TV Land.
Before you see the Charlie's Angels movie, see the Charlie's Angels movie, the rarely seen movie of the week that launched one of the most important and memorable hairstyles ever. See the original Angels in the Angels' original adventure. Kate Jackson, Farrah Fawcett Majors, Jaclyn Smith, and Academy Award winner Tommy Lee Jones star in the TV movie event of the weekend. Catch the TV Land premiere right after Inside TV Land tonight at 9, only on TV Land.
Look, Jerry, let us handle it our way. That's what you hired us for.
How?
The feminine touch.
At 10 p.m. on Wednesday night, September 22nd, 1976, the much-anticipated premiere of Charlie's Angels hit the nation's airwaves.
Just how did you hurt your back?
The crushing weight of responsibility, Angel. But I think it'll just be a matter of some deft manipulation before I'll be standing as erect as ever.
From the start, viewers were drawn to the three angels. Sabrina, played by Kate Jackson, Jaclyn Smith as Kelly, and Farrah Fawcett as Jill.
And what denomination are you, little lady?
35, 24, 35, brother.
After the show premiered, they made the cover of the TV Guide, and you could just look at the three angels together, and you knew there was something electrifying about them as a group.
They were tough and beautiful and feminine and sassy, sexy, all those things.
Right.
The series was the season's hottest new hit. Almost overnight, Charlie's Angels became a phenomenon.
It was all going by so fast, and there wasn't a moment to catch our breath. It was unbelievable. Prince Charles came to visit us on the set, amongst many others. It was pretty hard to believe.
The show's portrayal of women in action broke new ground, but in the first episodes, a man was in control.
I've already made arrangements for you three to go to prison.
Prison? You've got to be kidding, Charlie.
Charlie's voice would say, Angels, this is the problem. This is the bad guy. This is the good guy. Kate Jackson, you're to do such and such. And Farrah, you'll do such and such. And good luck, Angels. Go get them. And I objected to that. I said, you're making a fundamental mistake.
Producer Barney Rosenzweig joined the production team and made a simple but critical change in the relationship between Charlie and his angels.
The client told them their problem.
At the risk of sounding paranoid, I'd say somebody was trying to gaslight me.
They then came to Charlie's office, and they say, Charlie, this is what's going on. Jackie's going to do this, Farrah's going to do that, and Charlie would say, good thinking, Angels, go get them. Well, that's a fundamental difference. They're not just like hookers being hired to do something. They're involved, and they have a plan, which is their plan.
What about the rest of us?
Assisting the angels with their plan and providing comic relief each week was Bosley, played by David Doyle.
Hello, Charlie. Hello, Bosley.
We couldn't have done better for our Bosley than David Doyle. A very funny man with a great sense of humor on and off the set.
I am Brother John.
I thought when I first got into the show, I said, this poor guy is going to just sit there handing out exposition lines.
The Phoenix Police Department There's your cover story.
Thank you.
But he had a wonderful sense of humor and a great, interesting, gravelly voice, and he had great timing.
Is there something wrong with our connection, Bosley, or do I detect wheezing?
Oh, no. That's just the usual morning rattle.
Bosley was the show's funny man, but its mystery man was Charlie Townsend.
Yes, indeed, Angel. Well done.
The man who gave voice to Charlie was the well-known film and television star John Forsythe. Spelling called Forsythe in a late-night emergency.
He said, we had a man doing the voice of Charlie, but he's not in any condition to do this because he's been drinking.
That night, Forsythe began a 5-year run as the voice of Charlie. And for most of that run, Forsythe kept his distance from the rest of the cast.
I thought that the best thing to do is just to stay clear of it and keep that aura of mystery, so I stayed away.
We tried not to bump into each other on the lot.
So I never met the girls until toward the end of the show.
Of course, we had Bosley and John Forsythe's line over the telephone, but it was a show about 3 women.
Suppose he didn't mean to kill us.
Right, he's a male chauvinist who wants us out of the private eye business. Do you ever get serious when I'm being shot at? Never.
One angel in particular soon became a main attraction. Farrah's famous bathing suit poster had been released in the spring of '76, and a new American sex symbol was born.
So that poster, all of a sudden, just made her the biggest star in the world.
Everybody had the Farrah poster. She was a larger-than-life character.
By the end of the year, 8 million copies of Farrah's pinup were sold.
Sometimes people will say, do you realize what is happening to you? Do you realize what you've become?
Farrah's glorious mane of blonde hair captured the attention of women around the world, and her hairstyle, designed by stylist Alan Edwards, became a trademark.
Doing the Farrah made me famous. I don't know where I'd been today if I didn't do the Farrah. They were lined up, and I'm not kidding, out the door, down the block to get a Farrah.
I mean, everyone had the Farrah look. Everyone. It was amazing the influence the show had.
It's funny, I would be standing with some people or sitting, and they would say, look at that girl. She's doing her hair just like you.
It was a person, her hair, you know, and it really was amazing.
Beyond hair, each angel brought their own unique sense of style and fashion to their character.
Farrah and Jaclyn were much more into clothes than I was. A pair of bell-bottoms and a T-shirt, and I was happy.
Jaclyn Smith was the only angel to wear a bikini the first year. Farrah Fawcett never wore a bikini, and Kate Jackson never wore a bathing suit for the series' entire run.
In the beginning, Jaclyn Smith's character was supposed to be more tomboyish.
I'd like to see Mrs. Lemire. Is she in?
It didn't take long to figure out that Jaclyn was so feminine. It wasn't really her character. And always, Farrah was very high fashion.
Both Farrah and I love pretty clothes. Now, Kate, on the other hand, wanted to wear a turtleneck and stand behind the bar so she wouldn't have to do a fitting. I had on my jeans or my shorts or my cutoffs or whatever I had on and a top. It was very comfortable to stand back there and only be seen from the waist up.
The angels took it upon themselves to help out the wardrobe department.
The Charlie's Angels shopping trips are legendary in Beverly Hills. I used to regret that they had Saturdays free and didn't have to work.
Farrah walked into my office wearing tight jeans and these high boots, and she said, Leonard, what do you think of the boots? I said, they look very stylish. She said, good, I just bought a dozen pair.
The trouble was to get them to give it back, which they didn't as a rule. And Aaron looked at some rather heavy expenses in that area.
But Spelling had a firm grasp of what worked for the show and what didn't.
Once I had a phone call from Aaron Spelling in the production room. He was looking at dailies, and he called furious with me, and he said, why is Jaclyn Smith wearing a fur coat? He said, she's supposed to be a policewoman.
Fur coats were out, but platform shoes were standard equipment.
Because you can run in them. Think how silly you would sound in heels when you go, tippy, 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 freeze! Freeze! Freeze!
In just one season, Charlie's Angels had made a profound impact on popular culture. The show was a breakout hit, not only in America, but around the world. Then, before that first triumphant season was over, Charlie's most famous angel decided she wanted out.
And I never wanted to just leave the show, but I think that you reach a time when you feel you have to move on, and you know that the time is right.
Coming up, one angel out, another angel in.
I walked on the set the first day and I had a t-shirt that said Farrah, Fawcett, Minor.
And the dark side of angel mania.
Jackie did have a stalker.
You know, he wouldn't take no for an answer.
When we go back inside Charlie's Angels on Inside TV Land. Charlie's Angels caused a sensation in its debut season, making Kate Jackson, Jaclyn Smith, and Farrah Fawcett 3 of the hottest names in television.
Yes, thank you, everyone, and thank you, Aaron, and thank you, Lynn, and thank you, all the people.
But after work on the first season was over in March of 1977, Farrah made a shocking decision to quit the show.
I was watching the news one night, and there was Farrah's press agent announcing that Farrah was leaving the show. It came as a total shock.
Farrah declined our request for an interview, but her manager at the time, Jay Bernstein, says it wasn't Farrah's idea to leave the show. Bernstein claims that it was Farrah's husband, $6 million man Lee Majors, who wanted his wife to quit Charlie's Angels.
He said, Jay, this is a family that makes $55,000 a week. And I make 50 of it. When I get up in the morning and she's gone already for Charlie's Angels, and then I come home at night and she's not home yet, this is not something I'm going to live with anymore. And I've talked to our attorney, and we have a legal way out of this. And said, okay.
When I left, it happened because I didn't have a signed contract, so that was the opening.
Farrah took the position that since her contract was unsigned, it was invalid.
When I heard it, I got incensed. Said, well, she's got a contract, and that's nonsense.
Spelling Goldberg Productions filed suit for breach of contract.
When you walk away from a television series that is a success, you're thumbing your nose at an awful lot of important folk. If you think that they're just going to look the other way, you're sadly mistaken.
It was ugly, it was time-consuming, it wasted a great deal of ABC's time, and I don't know how it helped Farrah. I don't think she's ever recovered from that.
That was probably the worst thing I've ever been through. I think emotionally it was a terrible strain, and all the publicity that went along with it.
While the legal battle raged, Farrah's fellow angels faced her departure with mixed emotions.
No one bothered to explain to me the legal issues, and that she wasn't coming back just because she didn't want to, because she felt she was better than us now, which is what we were sort of led to believe. Farrah did say to us that she didn't want to come back.
You want to better yourself. You want to grow not only as an actress, which was the reason that I left, but as a person.
You know, you want your friends to be happy, so you think, well, if you're not happy doing this, you know, you have to wish them the best.
We love you, you know?
The big problem we had is, how do you replace Farrah Fawcett?
Now look, nobody can take Jill's place with us. Nobody!
The casting call went out for Farrah's replacement, but Leonard Goldberg and Aaron Spelling already had 25-year-old Cheryl Ladd in mind.
I asked if she'd like to come in and talk about doing Charlie's Angels, and she said no, she didn't think so, and
I think he was a bit flabbergasted that I said no, and looking back at it, you know, now with all this hindsight, no wonder, you know, what was I thinking?
Cheryl soon realized she was passing on the chance of a lifetime and quickly reconsidered, though she still had some reservations to discuss with Spelling before agreeing to take the role.
I'm a mother. I have a 2-year-old daughter. This whole glamour thing I feel a little nervous about. I said, if I could be funny, if I could, you know, make mistakes and kind of not try to be sort of this glamour thing. He said, well, I got an idea. What if you're Farrah's little sister? And you come in and they kind of take you under their wing and you can make mistakes and we'll put you in some funny circumstances. And I lit right up. That just goes to show how smart Aaron Spelling is.
Well, I'm here.
It's me.
Who?
Chris Monroe.
Work on the second season began in the summer of '77, and on Cheryl's first day on the set, she found a way to put her new co-workers at ease.
I had a t-shirt that made up for myself that said Farrah Fawcett Minor. So immediately the crew laughed and we all It broke the ice and the tension.
Everyone was very pleased to have her because she's such a nice person. She's very professional. She did everything that she was supposed to do.
Cheryl's co-stars were more reserved about her arrival.
It wasn't the warmest reception. They were so sort of shell-shocked, I think, by Farrah leaving. Their trust level and worry level was, and their anxiety level, I think, was quite high.
She came into a very difficult situation and handled it beautifully and was successful at it and was so professional.
Jaclyn soon warmed to Cheryl, and the two became close friends.
I admire the way she handled a lot of things, because it wasn't easy, I don't think.
Kate was not as easy for Cheryl to win over.
I was a little intimidated by Kate, I must admit.
I will say there was friction between the two of them.
Kate tended to be a bully, and I think there was a little jealousy there, and she could be a little less than kind.
We got the work done and everything, but it just never really warmed up into kind of the connected up feeling that I had with Jaclyn.
Circus of Terror is Cheryl's first episode she filmed. They had filmed it in the hopes that Farrah was coming back because Farrah was in court. And every day they would send a limo to pick up Farrah, and every time the limo would come back without Farrah, they would shoot the episode with two different ways. One with Cheryl and one without Cheryl. If Farrah did come back, they could just cut Farrah in later on.
But Farrah wasn't coming back, and on June 11th, production of Charlie's Angels was temporarily halted.
Aaron came down on the set and said, "We're shutting down." And I just sort of remember Kate hitting the roof. I think the dressing rooms were locked, and my purse was in the dressing room. And I said, "Oh, my purse, I've got to get my purse." She was upset, and I stood there, and I thought, "Well, you want your purse, don't you?" And she said, "Yeah." And Kate takes her foot and puts it through the door. Just kicked the door and just blew the whole thing wide open. And we went in and got her purse, went on home.
Charlie's Angels were soon back at work. On the legal front, the court ruled that Farrah's contract was binding. In a settlement, Farrah agreed to make guest appearances on Charlie's Angels 3 times a year for 3 years. When the second season debuted in the fall of '77, Charlie's Angels was back on top of the ratings.
We did really well. I was very relieved.
But as Cheryl settled into her new role, a new controversy was building.
The most difficult moment I had within the show and the fashion was probably the whole bikini issue.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Certainly is.
So I had a little meeting with Aaron, and I asked, please could I, if I'm going to be wearing a bikini, be on a boat, at a swimming pool, at the beach, somewhere where it is actually appropriate to have a bathing suit on. I'm someone's mother, and this is starting to feel humiliating and uncomfortable for me.
Cheryl and producer Aaron Spelling agreed to ground rules for wearing a bikini, but the sight of 3 gorgeous angels, sometimes scantily clad, had its detractors. Critics coined a phrase to describe the show: Jiggle TV.
Coffee break. Excuse me.
I hate the term jiggle TV. When a man is in a tight bathing suit, do they say anything about jiggle trunks or anything?
Thanks for that.
The term jiggle TV said that in point of fact, people were tuning in just to watch women's bodies bumping up and down, and that, in fact, the 3 very talented women that we were seeing on screen were nothing but the sum of their body parts.
Charlie's Angels also drew fire from feminists and social conservatives.
Charlie's Angels, dressed in bikinis, tight T-shirts, and form-fitting blue jeans, will be still chasing crooks and conmen across television screens next season, but without the help of Sears.
The Mississippi-based National Federation for Decency says Sears is the 3rd largest sponsor of sexually offensive television shows.
People would say it's almost pornography. If you look at those shows, you say that was almost pornography. Please.
Many feminists claim the show exploited women.
I do think they missed the big picture, because he was a show when women were in the lead. It was a breakout time for women, and these 3 women accomplished that.
All of the feminist nags in the world are never going to make that particular phenomenon go away.
The more heat the show took from critics, the more viewers it attracted. But the show's millions of fans around the world were unaware of the personal price that Kate, Jaclyn, and Cheryl were paying for their fame.
We had bodyguards, we had kidnap threats, we had everything.
Jackie did have a stalker, and he managed to sneak onto the lot.
Aaron wanted me to have a 24-hour bodyguard. At that time, I learned to be very aware of who was following me, and you know, it wasn't just one. I mean, I had one that certainly was sent to prison I don't know how many times because, you know, he wouldn't take no for an answer. I mean, there's all kinds of stories, whether it be, you know, you're married to him through mental telepathy. You know, Jesus said, I'm your husband, you're my wife, and we're going to be together forever.
I had a guy come to my house and bang on the door, and police had to come for him, and it was a bad scene. And it was really scary.
It is pretty overwhelming to really think about the vulnerability of one or three individual women.
The women they played on screen could handle any situation, but off-screen, Charlie's Angels found life's challenges harder to bear.
We all went through divorces on the show. Not a pleasant time, and not a time to be working 18 hours a day.
Despite its toll on the actresses' emotional lives, and despite the critics, the second season of Charlie's Angels was a resounding success. But there was more trouble and another angel exit ahead. Coming up, Kramer versus Kramer and Kate versus the producers.
I wasn't allowed to do the role. I should have been allowed to do it.
That was not a pleasant time.
And later, the search for another angel gets underway.
Aaron said, she's the Charlie girl. How can we pick anybody else?
When we go back inside Charlie's Angels on Inside TV Land.
Tonight, we face tribal council. I can't believe we have to vote one of us off.
Well, I hope it's me so I can go home and get a decent meal for a change.
Ew.
What is this stuff?
It's, rat.
It's our birthday, Angels. 3 years together.
That's right, it is. 2 for me.
Having survived the replacement of Farrah Fawcett, Charlie's Angels entered its third season in 1978.
By season 3, Charlie's Angels was sort of smooth sailing. In fact, it was the only season there wasn't a cast change. The only major surprise was the return of Farrah Fawcett.
That season, Farrah returned as a guest star.
I hadn't spoken to the girls since everything had happened, and I didn't really know how they felt. I'd read a lot of things, and Kate, who was very sweet, a very good friend of mine, I think helped me a lot.
I knew it was going to be hard for her to walk back on the set, just because it would be.
She came out about 6:15, ran into my dressing room, banged on the door, come out here, grabbed my hand, took me inside, and introduced me to Cheryl.
I'm pretty busy, huh?
Oh, no! And so it was just like old times. We all giggled and laughed, and were late for makeup and hair.
It was great when she came back.
Oh, my goodness!
Farrah's homecoming was a bright spot in Kate's third season, but 1978 was not entirely great for Kate. She was offered the role of Dustin Hoffman's estranged wife in the film Kramer versus Kramer.
The Kramer versus Kramer people were very willing to be accommodating to my Charlie's Angels schedule. For some reason, my Charlie's Angels schedule was a bit more demanding than could be accommodated.
I don't remember specifically how Erin and I told her that she couldn't, but that was not a pleasant time. It was a wonderful part. We didn't know, of course, at the time how wonderful it was, but I'm sure to this day Meryl Streep thanks her.
Meryl Streep won her first Academy Award in the role Kate would have played.
It doesn't mean that I would have done Sophie's Choice or won an Academy Award or anything else if I had done Kramer versus Kramer. But it was possible for me to do both.
Kate grew increasingly disenchanted with Charlie's Angels.
We were all aware that Miss Jackson was becoming increasingly unhappy. She was unhappy with the scripts.
You can't run a little crawl that said she really hated this line that so-and-so wrote, but she had to say it. So I did change things a lot. Sometimes we were just too darn tired to change it, too, and so we just did the best we could.
I think that Kate really couldn't see herself coming back to the show.
Speaking for myself, Charlie, I'm very happy to end my career.
I figured at that time I had served Charlie's Angels well, and it had served me well, and it was time for me to leave.
At the end of the third season in 1979, Kate Jackson left Charlie's Angels.
I've always believed when it's time to go, it's time to go.
Jaclyn and I kind of looked at each other like, well, now what?
It was hard because we'd started it together, and then we were very close friends, and I hated to see her go.
The search for yet another new angel got underway in the spring of 1980. Hundreds of beautiful girls from around the world vied for the coveted role. Among them, a 26-year-old actress named Kathy Lee.
I was feeling lousy. I'm sorry, but even Jaclyn Smith, I bet, when she has the flu, doesn't look like Jaclyn Smith.
At her audition, Kathy Lee confronted a less than delicate casting director.
She looked at me, she goes, well, let me tell you right now, you're not right for Charlie's Angels. We're looking for a pretty girl. And we're looking for a drop-dead gorgeous, like Jaclyn Smith, gorgeous girl. The more she said, it was more like, kick me to the left, kick me to the bam, bam, you know.
We screen tested a number of girls, but among the girls was Michelle Pfeiffer, who I liked, but I guess the network and other powers decided on Shelley, who's a lovely young woman.
Shelley Hack was a top fashion model who had gained worldwide fame in print and TV ads as the Charlie Girl. The Charlie Girl became Charlie's new angel.
We thought Shelley Hack would bring a different hit to the show.
This East Coast girl that was, you know, highly charged and energetic and intellectual. She was sort of like the debutante.
But for Shelley, the transition from modeling to acting proved difficult.
You're staring. Is there something wrong?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
It was apparent in the first couple of shows that she was not a great actress.
Do you think that I belong in this job?
Sure you belong. You're doing great.
I don't know. I'm so new to this kind of work, and they're so good at it.
She was just a really hardworking, nice girl, thrown into a very difficult situation.
She had a great fashion sense, and she knew how to wear clothes, but she wasn't the most cooperative or the most pleasant person for us to deal with.
Actresses, designers, producers all see it differently. She was my friend. We worked together.
I felt badly for her because she was never integrated into the group.
We kept saying daily, why don't they get rid of her?
He's not serious.
The newest angel also found an unwelcome reception in the press.
They were really unkind. It was sad. And I thought it very unfair.
The decision to replace Shelley Hack was made before the fourth season was over.
As a matter of fact, it was reported that Cheryl, Jaclyn Smith, and David Doyle each received Valentines saying, "Good job, we can't wait to see you back again." Shelley never got one.
And once again, it was time to cast a new angel. This time, in contrast to the sophisticated Shelley Hack, Spelling and Goldberg hired a streetwise young beauty from Brooklyn named Tanya Roberts.
Hi, I'm Julie Rogers.
Oh, okay.
Well, I know they referred to me as the sexy angel, and I think that's just because they had run out of adjectives by the time I came along.
Tanya was a free spirit, totally different than anybody I'd ever met. She was bigger than life.
Tanya was a real blast of energy.
The first time, Jaclyn and I were doing a scene with her, and she took her robe off, and she's in this bikini. Jaclyn and I go, what a body.
As work began on the series' fifth season in 1980, Tanya clicked with her new co-stars.
I was all excited, and they were like, you know, tired of it. which happens after 5 years. But otherwise, they were totally cool.
Tanya was kind of fun and different, and she was sort of that little street chick.
Though Tanya revitalized the show, ratings for the series' 5th season slipped dramatically, and in March of '81, Charlie's Angels was canceled.
It was time, and we knew it was time.
I remember Jaclyn screamed for joy. She was absolutely a pro till the end, but she wanted the show to be the last year, so she was very happy. And I think Cheryl was pretty happy, too. So I was the only one who was crying, but what can you do?
I don't remember shrieking with delight. I wanted to move on. I wanted to do different roles, but I don't remember shrieking with delight. Maybe I did.
Coming up, farewell to a friend and co-star.
When I heard that he had passed away, it was just really hard.
When we go back inside Charlie's Angels on Inside TV Land.
Be an angel for a week.
What?
Fly to L.A. with 2 friends and do everything the angels do.
Everything?
Almost. You'll learn to fly a fighter jet, ride a horse, stunt drive, and karate chop, all while looking fabulous because you'll have your own makeup artist and chauffeured limo.
It's part of the job.
Or play Charlie's Angels at home with this glamorous Angels t-shirt and TV Land's Crime Stopper CD set featuring the Charlie's Angels theme. Enter TV Land's Be an Angel for a week sweepstakes at tvland.com or send a postcard to this address.
You're priceless, angels.
By 1997, nearly 2 decades after Charlie's Angels' phenomenal run on ABC ended, the 6 women who played angels could all look back on diverse and successful careers.
Say that again.
Farrah Fawcett's career has had its post-Angels ups and downs. TV movies, including her Emmy-nominated roles in The Burning Bed and Small Sacrifices, have kept her in the public eye. Jaclyn Smith has appeared in more than 25 TV movies and continues to endorse her own fragrance and clothing lines.
We sort of brought women to the forefront, and women then started, developing their own scripts, forming production companies, and all of a sudden, we were taken more seriously.
Kate Jackson went from Charlie's Angels to the long-running Scarecrow and Mrs. King. Kate is also a heart surgery and breast cancer survivor.
When you find it that early and you have a good surgeon, the cure rate is, like 99%. You've got to think of the mammogram as your friend because she can save your life. And early detection is the key to the cure.
Cheryl Ladd went on to continued success as a film and television actress and as a pop singer.
Within your body of work and your career, you hope that you do a few things that people attach to. Somebody was saying to me the other day that people aren't just Charlie's Angels fans. They felt that they really knew us.
Shelley Hack didn't let her tough luck as an angel keep her down. Today, she juggles roles in film, television, and theater with her work as a political activist. Tanya Roberts raised eyebrows by appearing in Playboy and action films from James Bond to Beastmaster. Since 1998, Tanya's been a star of the Fox TV sitcom That 70s Show.
I guess the thing that I still like the best is that we were 3 women who, were ballsy. We could take on any man, and it just shows that a woman could do it all.
After Charlie's Angels, the man of the cast, David Doyle, left Bosley behind to continue a busy career in film and television. Then, in 1997, at the age of 67, the beloved character actor died of a heart attack.
He was a great guy, a great actor, very sensitive man, nice man.
I know I would not have survived the 4 years of Charlie's Angels without David Doyle. He was my anchor. I mean, he was just really such a kind man. He always made me laugh.
Angel.
He was a character. He was eccentric. He was just all good things, David.
When I heard that he had passed away, it was just really hard. It was was really nice of him.
Nearly a quarter century after its debut, Charlie's Angels has maintained its hold on the imaginations of fans around the world. Released in the year 2000, a film from Columbia Pictures brings Charlie's Angels into the new millennium.
Good morning, Angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
The film was executive produced by Leonard Goldberg and co-produced by Drew Barrymore, who joins Cameron Diaz and Lucy Liu as the 21st century's Charlie's Angels.
The media attention and the public's attention is unbelievable. They all remember. I think it's become part of the fabric of American culture.
Charlie's Angels came along at a point in time, when people were looking for escapism, and this show provided it. The beautiful women in fantastic situations. It was fun. It was easy to take. The timing was perfect.
And Charlie's Angels will go down in history as one of the most successful shows ever done by women, and that means a lot to me.
I think what stood out the most about us was the friendship of the girls, the team, the spirit of the girls. You know, maybe we wore pretty clothes, maybe we were in pretty locations, but that isn't what made the show go over. It was the chemistry of the girls.
I'm proud that I could have been involved, that I came to my senses and said yes, and that I was a Charlie's Angel. It was quite an experience.
People would say, it's so lightweight, it's so lightweight. I said, of course it's lightweight. It's so light. If you threw it up in the air, it would take a week to hit the ground, but that doesn't matter. That's not the point. That wasn't what it was about. It was fun.
Started it all. The original Angels in the Angels' original adventure. Farrah Fawcett Majors, Kate Jackson, Jaclyn Smith, and Academy Award winner Tommy Lee Jones star in the Charlie's Angels movie next on TV Land.